Hey everyone, I'm here today to talk about June and what I'm going to be reading. I'm pretty excited about this month. I have decided not to do my TBR game. I'm going to focus on just some mood reading. I've had a lot of bigger, popular fantasy books just burning a hole on my shelf, and I always try and read some of the ones I've had on my shelf for a long time and not just the ones I've bought recently. Because that's how I ended up with a giant TBR. And that has meant that some of these ones that I've been super excited about I just haven't gotten to yet. They haven't come up. So this month, to go along with the Whateverathon, which I will post a link to down in the description, I'm just going to read the things I've been super excited for. You'll see in my wrap up that this last month was not that great for reading. For me, I had a lot of middle of the road books, and I just really want to start my summer off with some good reads. So I'm going to tell you the books in the order I'm hoping to read them. There are a lot on this list. I'm not going to get to all of them, but I did choose one for every prompt on the Whateverathon board. We're going to start with The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendricks. If you've been watching my channel at all, you may have realized that I don't really read horror because I can't handle it. Really. I do not like scary movies, and I read thriller books sometimes. I do listen to like true crime stuff, but for whatever reason, scary books and scary movies are a struggle. The book club that I do with my friends, we were looking for something to read, and I found this, and I remember people saying that it was really good, so we decided to go for it. I've actually already finished this, and it goes for the 2001 release prompt for my bingo board. So I already got points for that, and I definitely enjoyed it. There were, I think, 2 scenes that I was just, whew. Yeah, if you've read this, you probably know what those are. One involves mice and one involves cockroaches. Not for me. But overall, I was really pleasantly surprised. I think it was a little bit slow for me, and I wanted a little bit more mystery. Overall, a really good start. And I read it in like 2 days. So also, before I forget, I'm hoping to listen to 2 books on audiobook. So I've already started The Lies of Locke Lamora. I'm about 30% in and really loving it. There is a prompt on the board that just has like the, of, and, so it counts there. That's what I'm using this book for. It's one that I've had on my wish list for audiobooks for quite a while. It has a great British accent, the reader does. And again, just I'm really loving the vibe so far. Just a lot of sarcasm. That's something I appreciate in a book. I also planning on doing Deadly Education by Naomi Novik for my academia prompt. As soon as I finish Lies of Locke Lamora. Okay, so I lied. Lies of Locke Lamora is for my different format prompt, and the book I'm reading now is for the end of City of Brass by S.A. Chakravarty. Almost done with it. I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow so that I can read one more book. I'm taking a trip, and I'm going to be gone for most of the month, so I'm hoping to get this and one more book done. That way I can take less books on the plane. Again, really enjoying this. I think it's super hyped up, and so honestly, it's not quite what I pictured. I'm worried there's gonna be a love triangle, which is not something I'm super into. I'll like put up with it, but it can really change a rating for me. So I'm a little bit nervous. I'm enjoying it right now. It's definitely a 4-star, but we'll see. We'll see. The next one is for a previous TBR prompt, and you've seen it, you know it, you love it. 2 Dark Rains. I've had this on every like readathon prompt board I've done for the last like 3 years and just haven't got to it. So I'm hoping to also finish this before I go on my trip. It's going to be the next one I read, so you will never have to see it on this again. And I love this series so far. It's a really great take on royals, if you enjoy royals, which I definitely do. I love the relationships that have been established in book 1 and 2, because this is book 3. The different personality of the sisters. If you like fantasy you haven't read this one yet, it could be a good series to check out. Okay, some of these you are also gonna see in a haul video coming up pretty soon because I've got some new books, and again, just excited for them. The next book is gonna go with the less read genre, and it is Neon Gods by Katie Roberts. I have heard great things from the romance booktubers that I watch. I'm pretty excited. I do love a good romance novel, but it's just not something I pick up very often. So I also love a really good retelling, and I'm pretty sure this is, yeah, this is a Hades and Persephone retelling. So I love this cover. It's just super dramatic. I love the coloring, and it's nice and short compared to some of the ones I'm trying to get through this month. Okay, next up I have a book about books, and I'm going with The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstein. I took the cover off just because I don't like to read with the dust jackets on, so I have it ready to go. I read The Night Circus maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and actually did a review on it because I was really surprised by it. I usually don't like books as slow as The Night Circus, but it just had such an atmosphere to it, like nothing I'd ever read before. So this one, I don't know anything about. It is purely an author by, and I'm hoping it will be just as good. And I'm a little bit nervous because atmosphere really made up for the fact that typically a book like The Night Circus would not be something I enjoyed because it was a little bit slow and it focused pretty heavily on characters and not plots. So I feel like this could be either really good or not at all something that I enjoy, and that makes me pretty nervous. Another prompt was to read a host favorite, and that gave me the opportunity to pick up Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. My sister read this along with about 10,000 booktubers. They enjoyed it. There is a break in the book where it kind of switches from like academia to war vibes, and that some people made it past that with no issues, some people didn't. I feel like it gets a lot of praise all around regardless, and so I'm really just hoping that, I mean with all of these, I'm hoping that it's just a 5-star month, really. 4 and 5 stars is what I'm shooting for. I hope there are nothing less than a 4-star here. Okay, I also did a poll. It was a really quick poll. I asked like 1 or 2 people, and I gave them like 10 different options, and Laura Olympus, one of my graphic novels, by Rachel Smythe. This is volume 1. It's a pretty chunky volume 1. Again, really cool colors, really amazing art style. It's supposed to be a Persephone retelling, so between this and Neon Gods, I am set with mythology, I'm set with retellings, and I'm gonna be a happy girl. I am happy also to throw a graphic novel in because, as you can see, this list is getting pretty chunky. All right, the next one was favorite genre, and I really had a hard time because, I mean, most of these books have been fantasy, which is my favorite genre easily, but I decided to just pick up a retelling, be a little bit more specific with favorite genre because retellings are some things that I definitely love. I've been listening to a podcast called Reading Glasses where they always ask what your wheelhouse is. Retellings, definitely my wheelhouse. Royals, definitely my wheelhouse. So either one of those could have been my choice. I'm gonna go with Thorn, though. This is a retelling of The Goose Girl, actually. There is a book called Goose Girl that I've read before that was, again, a retelling, and I really loved it, but that's the only version of that story I've read, and I have heard great things about this retelling, this version. The next prompt is definitely one that will save me. It is under 300, so I'm going with the 3rd book in the Murderbot series. This is Rogue Protocol. Yeah, I love the way, I'm going to show the covers off for a lot of these because they're just beautiful. I love the different style of this compared to some of the ones I've held up. It's just very like sci-fi. It puts you straight into the right vibe. In the first book, you meet a robot that has dubbed itself Murderbot, and it's super sarcastic and self-deprecating, and I could relate. And the fact that you could make me relate to a robot was a pretty big and amazing thing, especially in a novella. And so I've continued on with the series. In the second book, Murderbot meets another AI, and that interaction was really hilarious. I don't know anything about the plot for the 3rd book. I'm excited, but again, a little hesitant only because The novella style, I feel like, could be really hit and miss, and it only takes one novella in a bunch to really throw off a series. The next prompt was dragons, and I chose the most intimidating book on my shelf. I feel like if I get to this one, there's a good chance that I won't get to anything after it because it's just so big. Priory of the Orange Tree. I have seen so many people hold this up, and I still cannot tell you what the plot is, but I do know it has dragons, and that's what the prompt is. So I decided go big or go home. Also, surprisingly, I don't have a lot of books with dragons on my shelf, or at least like I know for sure there's dragons in them. I had this, and I had the Aragon series, which I was just not ready to read book 3 yet. And I was trying to pick books I was really excited for, and I am really excited for this. I want to know what it's about. I want to know what all the hype is. Okay, recently hauled is next up on the list, and I honestly cannot remember if this has been in a book haul or will be in the one coming up, but this is Winterkeep by Kristen Kishore. I'm trying to decide if I want to get all my old Graceling and Fire and Bitter Blue sets updated to this new style cover because I really love it. When I want to spend money on books, I don't want to really buy a book I already have. So most of the time I don't bother updating to my favorite covers. I've only done that once, and that was with my Wheel of Time books. I'm very much considering because these are beautiful covers. So we'll see. Maybe if I win the lottery. This series follows people who have different abilities called Gracelings. They usually have different colored eyes, and they all come with an ability. It could be anything from invincibility almost, or survival, to battle instincts, to affecting people's dreams. But this one follows Queen Bitterblue from the last book. Always loved this series. Like, these are books I go back and reread. I've read Graceling I don't know how many times. Fire, the second book, is one of my favorites. It has a really good romance that I just absolutely love. I haven't read the third one, Bitterblue, which the character is in this book as well. I haven't read that one many times because it was my least favorite of the 3, but I'm interested to see what picking up a book this many years later is like, because it's been like 10 years since the last book came out. For this book, I did a random like palette wheel, and it came up with a navy blue cover, which then I had to find a book that had that. So this book was perfect. And you know, I love me a good Terry Pratchett. Discworld, I have been super enjoying the Guards, the Night Watch line in the Discworld series. This is book number 4. I have had this on a previous readathon TBR and didn't get to it. But Discworld is just one of those beautifully written books that makes you happy and also makes you think about the world. And sometimes that is a hard combination, but Terry Pratchett did it really well. This is gonna make me smile. That's a guarantee. The next book is Rule, and I'm going to show you the cover because the prompt is to have a shiny cover. So this is the cover. I take the best jackets off before I read them. The book in the pile, I realized, does not really show that it has a shiny cover. So this is another Royals book because I just can't get enough of Royals. So this follows 4 random girls who get picked up off the street. Most of them have done some sketchy things in their lifetime, so they assume they're being taken in for prison, but it turns out they are all illegitimate heirs from the king, and the king's daughter has died and he needs a replacement. So we're leaning heavy into the didn't know I was royal trope, and I'm very hopeful that it is a good version, a good take on that. Next up is a one-word title book. We have Seeker. This also has a shiny cover. I almost put it there. This follows a girl who is sworn in to become a seeker for her kingdom, and the second she does it, she starts to learn some secrets that have her hesitating and questioning her loyalties. I've had it on my shelves for probably 6 or 7 years, so it is time to get to it. It's not one I'm as excited about as some of these others, which is why it's a little bit lower on the list, but there are still some here left that I'm really hyped for. So I think it's more of just like, it's time to read this one. It's time to see if it's a book worth keeping on the shelf. All right, we have 3 more left. The next prompt was continuing on a series, and I'm choosing Bloody Rose for this by Nicholas Ames. I listened to book 1 on audiobook and loved it. I'm actually gonna have a review up of book 1. I have filmed it, I have edited it. I'm just gonna put it up after this TBR video. So I have not done a review in a long time. That should tell you how good the first book is. Book 2 follows the daughter in book 1, and look at how just badass she looks. I'm really excited for this. High hopes for this one. High hopes. The next prompt was kind of weird. It was have more than one S on the cover. So I'm going with Nemesis. This is, again, another one that I bought a long time ago and I've had it on my shelves and need to read. I'm also pretty excited for it. It's a little bit different than the books I would normally read. I'm gonna read this little bit because I feel like it just sums it up better than I could. It says, it's been happening since Min was 8. Every 2 years on her birthday, the same man finds her and murders her in cold blood. And every time she wakes up in a clearing, alone, unhurt, and with all evidence of the crime erased. Across the valley, Noah is haunted by nightmares of murder and death, though he does his best to hide the signs. So I feel like this could come together in an amazing way. It has potential. So I guess this is actually going to go after Seeker, because Seeker ends in R and Renegades by Marissa Meyer starts with R. This has to do with superheroes and supervillains, secret identities, all that kind of stuff. Marissa Meyer wrote the Cinder, the Lunar Chronicle, the Lunar Cycle, Lunar something, and I love those. I named my cat Cinder after the books. It's a purely author buy, but I have heard good things, and the covers are just incredible. I mean, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's it. Those are the ones I'm reading. I don't think I could hold it all up if I've tried, but these are going to be the ones I at least read next. This is my goal, is to get through at least this stack, along with City of Brass, obviously. So this is it. Stretch goal. I think there are 17, 18 books on this list. So who knows? I don't even know if that's possible for me. I would love to know if you're doing the Whatever-a-thon readathon. Love to know if you have summer plans. Are you traveling? I'm going to Hawaii. I've never been. Very excited. So I will see you later, hopefully with a nice tan. And have a good summer, y'all. Bye.